God, we got in such a tangent. But we've got so far off of artwork. I don't even know how we've got there. I hope
No,
people
it's
actually
good.
even
It's a
understand.
good. It's all related. It's visual media. It's storytelling. It's actually all closely related, right? It's good. I think
I
it's
guess,
not really. Yeah, it's not a
but
real
but
tangent.
I mean, it's a the someone probably listening in is like, what the fuck are they on?
It's
But no. So,
mm,
is there any sort of medium where you can have mystery? I just want to see if that is something that can be present in art. Do you think that
that
when
yes. Yeah, there definitely can be. I think there's a word for it. I think it's called deconstruction. So
okay,
you're showing yeah, so you're showing a the observer some part of a subject, right? But you don't give
right?
everything, right? So one example I can think of is I actually follow this guy on Instagram. So one of the artists, like he will draw human portrait, but he'll make
Okay.
the human portrait very abstract, and there'll be holes in it, and there'll be like there'll be lots
Hmm.
of shapes taken away, but you can make out a vaguely humanoid shape, and then you kind of
Okay.
fill in the blanks with your imagination, right? Uh, Similar thing is actually, oh my God, I'm missing that. So similar thing to that is abstract art. That's one reason why people love abstract art. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
see something different from it. I'm looking for a piece of artwork I actually got from a art walk. Like I'll show you right here. So this is by Kathy Bible. She's an Edmonton artist. Like if you look at it, like what do you
Oh
see?
yeah,
Do you
right. We
remember? Like
saw
we
that
went
one.
together, right? Yeah,
Yeah, we went to the art walk here in
yeah,
Edmonton, and Tom picked this up because, yeah, I see like a mountain and a tower, and would have been like a, I don't know, like a structure leading up to the top of the mountain,
yeah, right.
or a
I see
broken
something similar.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that one too, right? You see that as like a mine structure, right? I see it as a
Yeah.
drawbridge that lead all the way to the other side of the castle, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
Interesting.
so, so, so in this case of a visual art, what they're not giving you all the information because they're so vague with the line and suggestion and whatnot. You don't know what they're really drawing. So that's what they're taking away. That's what they're keeping mystery. And you're filling the
Mm-hmm.
mystery with your imagination using all those lines and color and whatever as a framework, right? So
Oh, okay.
abstract art
Yeah.
is definitely uh like similar to how like Elden Ring style of writing is presenting the
Mm-hmm.
story to the reader by not giving them all the information, right?
So, so what about and what about the artwork? It just came to mind of the like Leonardo da Vinci, where they say he has a lot of hidden meanings and messages in his art. Um, could that could can that be done and it still makes sense when you put in a
Mm,
random thing that might be an inside joke or
yeah, yes. So yeah, in artwork definitely, but that's I think that's a bit different from abstract work, right? In
mm-hmm.
this case, you have clear intention, and you're
Yeah.
having clear kind of reference in your artwork. I think I did that with my most recent political poster. Like if you look at it, Daniel Smith is riding a bull, right? And then she's chasing around four chickens, and one of the chickens is wearing a lab coat. One of them is wearing
Mm-hmm.
a police hat. One of them is
Yeah.
wearing like a graduation hat, right? They represent education. They represent police force. They represent healthcare. And the last one is like
Mm-hmm.
with the old lady here. That's like retirement, right? So that would be an example of my inside joke in there. So that's very different.
Yeah.
That's intentional. That's kind of like in
Mm-hmm.
writing, that would be a double entendre, right? It's like you hide two meanings in there. So yeah, it can definitely be done in art as well.
Okay. That's it's interesting that it can be, yeah, like mediums can be so similar that way. So
I
you
think
just recently got into commission. Are you selling your artwork? Are you getting commission money from your commissions? I got a
I am getting
freebie,
money.
but throwing that out there.
Yeah, but I think you're my very first commission, so yeah, you got that
Yeah.
one free. But yeah, I had two commissions so far, and both of them pay me $50. like I think I charged them $30, and then they gave me $20 tip on top of that. Very nice of them. And then what else? And then like I'm thinking with, but commission, like if you really want to make money off of art, commission is not really the way to go. It's a lot of work, right? Like it's valuable in the sense that you're picking up new skill. You're
Mm-hmm.
yeah, while doing the commission, but at the same time, you're not really drawing what you want to express, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're like really working for other people, and at the same time, you're only working on one commission at a time, and you can't really
Mm-hmm.
like multiply your work. So it's you're really trading your time for money, like from a career artist perspective, right? So I want
Yeah.
to slowly move away from that. I want to like move it,
Hmm.
like put my art into a media that's easily publishable, easy to reach lots of people. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, right after I finished my particular cartoon, I showed my coworker, and one of my coworker told me, "Hey, why don't you try to send it to Edmonton Journal, or send it to like wherever, see if they'll like pay you, they'll buy it out, right? That way
Mm-hmm.
your thing can reach more people, and then you can maybe have more opportunity to present your stuff in a bigger stage, right? Lots of artists sell their arts in prints. That's one way that they can like scale up their artwork. Really, you
Mm-hmm.
make one piece of artwork, you make lots of prints, and then you can sell those prints, right? So
Yeah.
I think yeah. So I think I'm gonna slowly try to do that. Like maybe do some kind of publishable work. Maybe start doing like high quality digital, like even maybe acrylic. I'm not sure. And then selling prints of it, right? So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I kind of move toward. Hmm.
That'd be cool. I'll show some of your process that you have that's on display on your Instagram. You
Hmm.
it is graphic, like it's a graphic design. Is that what it's called, right? When you use a computer to make the art.
Um, I feel like graphic design is different, a different area of science, a different area of visual design altogether. Because
Oh, okay.
graphic design, yeah, because it's graphic design is not limited to what I'm doing. Graphic design
Oh,
has
okay.
they also cover, like for example, an advertisement. What's the font? What's the background? What's the layout? How does it like? What looks good, right?
Oh,
For
yeah,
me, I'm
yeah.
just
I see what you mean.
so so for me, I'm just purely digital art, right? I can
Digital
do
art. Sorry.
yeah, so I can do pretty much what I do with acrylic as well. I'm not overly reliant on the digital aspect of it. You can rely on it a lot, especially now with AI, right? You can fill in color, you can do the shading for you, but the way I do it, I can easily translate it to canvases, acrylic, like traditional media. So
Oh, okay. So
mm,
digital art is what you do. I see.
yes.
Okay. So digital art. It, how is it easier to do digital art versus sketching yourself? Do you find that there's any difference on the process if you choose to start one way or the other?
Yes, absolutely. So for digital art, the benefit is it's very easy to change things. It's very easy to undo things. If you make a mistake, it's very easy to fix. You just hit the back button, right? And it's very
Mm-hmm.
convenient in that you can pause your art whenever, and then you can
Okay.
resume whenever. Whereas with traditional art, acrylic is a bit better in that regard. But if you do watercolor, you really have to oil paint, especially you have to really work when it's wet, right? You can't wait
Oh,
for it to
okay.
dry and then do something else, right? But then
Mm.
me, when I start a new process, I actually do a mixture. So I have a sketchbook. So this is what I did for my latest poster. Like you see, I'm like brainstorming here. I have like, hey, how do I want the
Mm-hmm.
poster to lay out? I have different design of the cow, different facing different direction. So I do use it for brainstorming, and I think it's nicer to do that on paper than on a computer, right? And then
Huh.
I'm trying to find another thing. Yeah,
How
like
do you keep? Go ahead.
yeah,
Show
you
me.
go ahead.
What is that?
Oh, I drew a lot of butts a while ago because I'm practicing them.
Oh, a lot of butt.
Lots of butts. But yeah, if you
That's a
I
woman
feel like
butt.
it's some of them are women, some of them are men. But
Okay.
like drawing on a physical media definitely feels very different from a digital media. I think it's
Hmm.
superior in many ways, but oh, and here's you. See, that's a that's a like a the baby sketch before the final product. But anyway, sorry.
That's awesome. That was that. So how do you how do I word this? So one might have used one method and then evolved in that one method. So for example, you're going to use sketching and with your and then you've gotten better at that one thing. How do you keep your digital art and what your sketches both good? Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
it'd be like, how do you not think like, oh, I'm already good at this and then I'm going to be this much better and continue on and you get better at one thing? How do you keep both very good, looking very good?
Okay, so the digital art and traditional art actually have lots of overlap, right? So like lots of skill are really can be shared in both. So one of the important skill of artists is to be able to transform complex 3D object, break it down into simple 2D shapes, and then put them together
Okay.
in the same way, right? So no matter if you use digital art as a medium, or if you use traditional art as a medium, you have to have that hard skill, right?
Hmm.
But even though now that like I just upgraded my license for my drawing program, and they do have like tools to help you, like you can build a 3D model and then you can like kind of like overlay on top of that, so you don't necessarily have to have as much hard skill as before. But it's definitely like one of the critical skill for artists to have. And another thing that's
Hmm.
interesting is that I'm using a Surface Pro for drawing. So while I'm using a pencil to draw my sketchbook, I'm also using a pen to draw my Surface Pro. So like literally,
Okay.
I'm pretty much doing the same thing, right? So there's also that.
Hmm.
But I can definitely see someone who's only specialized in digital art. They might struggle with traditional art if they don't have that, base skill, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's something that's important to have.
It is important to have both. Do you?
Mhm.
But you do think that someone could be an excellent artist if they did only have the one or the other?
It's really hard to say now, because so it's funny because if you look at my old art style, like I'm very much into the dreamy, like however you describe it, kind of surrealist art, right? I was into that kind of art, but then AI art came out, so now we have lots of artists that just enter prompt into AI art, and the AI can do a pretty good job, like pretty darn good job of coming up with like surrealist art, right?
I will say that AI has changed my writing style. Not my writing
Mm.
style. My inspirations quite a lot. Um, I this is I know I bet there's old artists that are like, oh, how could you fucking do they even think to do that? But some of AI has gotten. I don't use it for like character because it doesn't do that well, and it's nor should you really need to think of that. I can do other apps and like use my mind if I want making characters, but
Hmm.
there are the AI for landscapes and cities is amazing now. It really, I couldn't visualize, for example, cities is very hard to visualize. The actual layout of a city, the actual look of a city. You can do it a little bit like, oh, this is a medieval city, but to make it very
Hmm.
particular, oh, this is what this city will look like versus another city they visit, which will look different. I found that
Mm.
very hard to do myself. I was like, oh, well, so this the roofs are normally going to be brown in this city and white, but it was very hard for me to actually picture it. But I think AI has really filled in the blanks that way for me, at least, because the cities and also the other culture, the other race in my world, their the look of their people and all these things is really. really had benefited from AI because it was hard for me to visualize what they would look like, what their cities would look like, all that stuff. But I wouldn't discount the effort and the skill of actual human beings. I don't think it's bypasses, even though AI is here now and it will only get better, it only will improve. I do think it's getting something from an artist is more valuable, more important, right?
Mm. Yeah, like yeah, if you factor in the human element and it's yeah, definitely. But there's no denying that like AI will like only get better, and one day they will
Mm-hmm.
definitely do a objectively better job than human, right? So I'd imagine
Yeah.
like maybe in 100 years they'll put two pieces of art side by side, and they don't tell you which one is done by AI and which one is done by human. The AI one will probably rank way more than the human artist. Like I have no doubt about that. So
Yeah.
so
Honestly, yeah, in many ways I think that is here because I will actually just right now show a few of the AI that I generated from mine, and it's beautiful. I would want to live in some parts of that world. I'm like, okay, well that's so it kind of is already starting and present in many prompts, I should say. But what do you think of that of AI being the competitor now for artists?
It is very difficult. I remember a while ago there were a lot of uproar in the community about AI art. There's lots of push against AI art, and one of the problem that people were having is because all those AIs were trained on like artist art that were free online, right? Not free online, that they posted online, and all those
Mm-hmm.
AI programmers just use this art without the artist's permission to train those AI bots, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
lots of negative sentiment toward it, but
Mm.
but recently I'm aware I didn't really dig into it. There were a copyright law, so that anything that's generated by an AI cannot be copyrighted, right? That's one way the government is trying to protect human artists. So
Oh, I
so
see. Okay.
yeah, so there is that, and I can see similar thing happening with writers, right? And I imagine you tried ChatGPT for writing. Have you ever tried doing that?
I haven't yet. Oh, see, okay, so now you're getting into my area, and like, okay, so now I'm gonna get defensive now. But it is kind of funny, like when you bring it back and you're like, oh yeah, I've Chat GPT, and I'm like, and I feel the arrogance, I guess, that you would want to feel that you're like, oh well, it's never gonna be better than, but it could be
Oh,
too. ChatGPT is the ghostwriting is now. I mean, not now. I shouldn't say that. Ghostwriting in apps I've seen is not bad. Um, it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense for what you've been what your goal, your own goal in the writing, but
mm,
as sentence structure, oh shit, like I there's an app that I use. It's actually, I should get sponsored by these people. I've used this app more than any other, and I my whole almost my entire story is on, it's called Wordsmith, and they have a ghostwriting thing that you can use for the next few lines, and it's
mm,
not bad if it doesn't accurately necessarily convey what you were writing previous to those lines, but it's not like, oh, so and see, like, oh, and when you, if you it just sees like, oh, lady was like your previous line, and the lady looked out of the window, like, and then it goes, and the lady saw that there was a sunset. So it can continue on, but I don't think it's to the point where it has it will it has overcome human, you know, expression of writing. I don't think it's yet there yet. It could eventually, it probably
Yeah.
will, but right now it's more just like saying, you know, like, oh, that's a line in a story. It's not like a, oh wow, that was a beautifully written line that this G- chat GBT wrote. So
Mm.
but there's other things that chat GBT I've seen people put prompts in for, and I think I might actually test it out because I find it pretty interesting. It can actually do like rap songs fairly well, like not in the way of, you know, giving again proper human expression or experiences, putting that in, like, oh, I lived down in the ghetto, and then I got out when I was 25. It might just be like, oh, and you know, a good rhyming, but it's actually not bad that way. I think I might test it out in my story, as you would want to do in any culture. You might have you know, like little songs that people write, and you put, in just a scene where everyone's having dinner, and then you have a minstrel playing. You might have like a little line of, oh, and this is what he's saying at this moment. I just want to see if that would actually, if it even could fit in that context, or if it just wouldn't fit in a you know, medieval setting. It's not that I would use it, because I already have songs that I've written out that I don't need more. But I just think I just wonder if it's to music would be one thing it can do. I don't know.
I from what I tried, it's pretty good. It can even do coding. Like you can tell your language, it can give an argument, it can do coding for you. And then
Oh
I
yeah.
tried playing, yeah, I tried playing a Dungeon and Dragon game. It can host a Dungeon and Dragon game, like not really, kind of. Like if you wanna play a Dungeon and
What?
Dragon game, yeah, it's insane. And then you can do things like, oh, give me 6 sentences describing a dwarven tavern with this and this element, and then it'll
Oh
give you a
yeah.
very detailed. Yeah, you saw that, right? So like it can definitely, it can do that. Um, it's pretty good. That is scary, but it does lack the core element. It cannot come up with an entire like convoluted plot for you. It can kind
Yeah.
of do it, but not really, right?
Well,
So
it's if it gets a really good prompt, then it's that's what I've seen people have good like results from it. Is that if you give a really good prompt, like even when some people are asking a question, one person in a podcast, in a comedy podcast, was like, "Oh, what are some common stereotypes of this race of people?" And it actually listed them out as like, really, yeah, that is, and how it worded it is like, oh, this is, and jokes to use on it, and it wasn't bad. It's I mean, unfortunately, it might just be a reality that the the more people use it, the better it's going to get to, right? The more it's going
yes,
to understand.
it's gonna train. It's gonna get trained by all those people using it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing you said about the AI art made a lot of sense, of when you meant that people were getting angry because it was using um, when people were training it.
Yeah.
I think I
Hmm.
understand what you meant by that, but I just wanted to clarify, because when how do you train the AI in art? How would they do that? Do you know how they did that?
So from my understanding, what they did is they got a bunch of art from internet artists like that post their art online. They downloaded
Hmm.
all those art, they put it into the robot and be like, see,
Oh,
this is a
okay.
hand, this is a hand, this is what a hand looks like, that's another hand, this is another hand, and then they type in the prompt of a hand, and then the AI can like take all the images just of the hand and then try to compile a new image of the hand based on what it has seen. So that'll be like a training,
Oh,
right? Like if you think about it, it's very similar to like ChatGPT, how they train ChatGPT to type. They'll be like, this
hmm.
passage is about, this is how this other describe a banana. This is how this other describe a banana. and then they have millions and millions of those, and then you ask the ChatGPT to describe banana, it'll come up with a very good, accurate description of a banana, right?
Of
So like
everything that was
similar, yeah,
inputted.
yes. But the problem with the AI art is that they didn't get the permission from all those artists, right? They just
Okay.
wanna grab all those art online and train those AI art bot in those art, and now they are
Okay.
proficient in those art, but without the permission of those artists. So that was one of the problems.
I think I understand what that, like, an example is when I if you put in a like Game of Thrones ones, the AI that I've seen for Game of Thrones seems to be really similar in where it came from, and I think it's taken from like some of the I can't remember. I think it's Villeneuve. She did a lot of Game of Thrones art and just beautiful artwork, and it seems like
Mhm.
some of it seems really similar to her, what she did. And other
I can
things. So
totally see that. Yeah.
yeah, like there's prompts people put in for Daenerys, and like they're really similar looking. How obviously it's Daenerys' face, right? But
Mhm.
even like the style of it is really similar. And
There you
I
go.
think I know see what you mean. Is that like it's all taken from really similar place in the prompts. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Huh. But I mean, yeah. But what happened? Well, eventually there might be artists who are just like, oh, I'm fully an AI artist. I expertise in AI art, and then they're like, and they're like, this is, give me a prompt, and then people go to
I
them
I
and
do
they
have a
give a prompt.
I do have a friend of a friend that that does that. So Mustafa has a friend from the newcomer group, and then I follow him on Instagram too. And then he pretty much just enter prompt into AI art. Like he has really interesting prompt, but then he's able to generate like 10, 20 different pictures per day and posting all of them on Instagram, right?
Oh
So
wow.
these definitely do exist, and people do like them. And I think it like objectively those art look great. Like one of those will take me months to finish, right? But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, but the speed that they are pumping them out by simply putting in prompts, so it's already a thing.
Oh well,
Prompt, yeah.
yeah, it is for sure. And like there's people who use it in a lot of different ways now. Like people who are on YouTube, they might use it for their for what do you call it? Like their not yeah, when they have a YouTube video and it's about like a medieval setting or whatever, they might use that instead of having to use all the copyrighted pictures. You know that you might find that you used to find, I guess, that you used to have to, look at if a picture is copyrighted. But if you just have AI, it opens that really has opened it up. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's hard to say if it's I emotion like the emotionally, or I mean I should say the my knee jerk reaction is to not like it, is to think that's a bad thing. But I mean, it does make beautiful art, and I mean, I have to I'm guilty in the fact that um yeah, it's made great art for my world. So I'm a
It's
hypocrite if I.
object Yeah, it's objectively good, and that's the thing, right? Like if you're gonna contrast it with like one thing in the past is photography, because in the past art really like it's the exclusive way how you can get a portrait of someone, a likeness of someone,
Hmm.
right? Until invention of photography, and the photography does what like the artists, like the Renaissance artists, can do, like much quicker and much better
Hmm.
as well, right? So photography now, like in the beginning, I'm sure there are people who are resistant to this kind of technology, right? But now it's so widespread that everybody's using it. But and art has evolved to be something else, has evolved to be, self-expression and whatnot, right? So I think with the evolution of AI art, it's gonna go through a similar arc, but I'm not
Hmm.
sure what or like the traditional art, the human art, is gonna evolve to. But I'm sure it'll also evolve to something. Me personally, that's
Mm.
one reason why I'm trying to push myself to do comic and storyline, because that's one of the things that AI cannot do very well yet, right? And
Yeah.
it's still very interesting. Like I don't think I want to keep pursuing in doing abstract art, because AI can do it so much better, right? So I feel like that was my niche, but now I want to adapt to something else. So so there you
Hmm.
go. It definitely
Yeah,
has
but you
its
do
uses,
want
but
it does, but you do like, but it's different when it comes from an artist and their vision, their passion.
what if
I
you
hope.
like but for abstract art, right? Because a sometimes the artists don't even have a vision. They're just putting shape and whatnot on paper to give a very
True,
loose
yeah.
framework for the reader to interpret. But like if you don't know whether or not it came from a human artist or AI artist, a piece of abstract art, does it
Yeah.
matter to you, right? So if both can do equally good job.
Yeah, I'm a bad person to ask because I'm not actually that big a fan of abstract. It's probably one of
Mm.
my less. I mean, you say you're abstract, but most of your stuff isn't that abstract. It's still quite. It's like surreal, but it's not
Yeah,
like
sure.
full
Sure.
abstract.
Surrealism. Yeah, yeah. I was using it as an example, but sure, surrealism as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well you have a you can see what kind of you can still see what's going on in your images, whereas abstract you can too, but abstract to me is can be beautiful, but it's usually very like whimsical, like, oh, this might be a human hand, but this might be a woman's body, and like,
Mm.
I think it's interesting, but I really I'm like a old school gay. I like the oil paintings, or like Renaissance, the
The
really
portraits.
ornate, yeah, that those
Mm.
styles of that to me is like really very my. I don't think there's a higher level of art in my personal view of someone who could still do the oil paintings of the Renaissance, because those are as you even pointed out, like to do oil paintings means that you are there, you're doing it for a long time.
Hmm.
You're not even really like they're not stopping. They were there for hours. Their what do you call it? Their muse might have been standing there for hours and hours, but that's what they had to do to get it done. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that there is almost like a push from AI in a way on human expression too. I don't think that it will be lost. I don't I'm very optimistic about that part of AI. There's other things about AI I don't like, but that part to me is not I don't think a lot of those things will be able to be fully ever taken away from humans. I don't think we could ever have like a great story that from a survivor of this assault from AI, like, oh, this AI wrote this assault story, but no one actually was harmed. I don't know. I don't think that will happen.
The I think part of it is the current limitation of the way they train AI, right? So right now the AI is only based on mimicry. Like you give it 1,000 example, it pick out the similarity, it pieces the puzzle together to give you something
Mm.
new. That's how it works. But what if you can design an AI that's fully conscious and have itself and have like its own experiences, its own like whatever, right? Its own
But I.
understanding, its own revelation, and then
Mm-hmm.
it writes something, and then it writes its abuse, its I don't know, its experience of being rejected by the human society, right? Something like that, and then that'll be valuable, and then that'll be I think, and then that'll be the real art from an AI. But as it is at the moment, it's just mimicry.
Well, I don't even mean that because I think it will eventually become serviceable enough for any writer or artist to make something from. But I just mean like the fact that you are getting a real story from a real, or essentially stories are real because they're coming from a person
Mm.
bring in their experiences and their style, everything like that. I don't think that could ever be surpassed because we like, oh wow, this person, it's even about literally the person, not just about the writing. The AI might be able to write a story and a good story and everything like that, but I don't think, yes, it's coming from this person who survived this. I just think that
Mm.
aspect, that it's a living person, is not going to get bypassed. I hope not, because it'd be really shitty to be out of work too, to be able to not be able to write. Like, oh,
Unless we're creating AI powerful enough to be considered a living person, a cyborg. They're living their own life, and then they are alive, and they have their own experience. But anyway, I'm going off
have
the
you
tangent.
have you played Becoming State
Detroit Become
Detroit
Human.
Become Human? Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I had in mind.
I'm
Right?
so I'm so I'm so anti AI that I was tempted to just have them all die. Like I'm very
Oh,
anti
okay.
AI robot. I even if that's, but then I'm like, well, it is the game doing that, but I wouldn't be a good representation, because I would have been like the cop, basically. I feel like the cop who's like, oh,
Okay.
what the fuck, and he's like, they're just a machine. I'm like, well, yeah, they are a machine. I don't know. I would. It'd be a hard sell for me if the world got to that place where everything came to be AI robots as slaves, and they may have, it's unknown, but they may have their own consciousness. I don't know. I would find it very hard for me to still be able to change and find sympathy, and I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't think it would be a good thing.
I think for me personally, I think it
All
Did
right,
it
okay, I'm
actually
back.
die?
Yeah, I died. It got zero battery. That's what happened. Can you still hear me all right?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you fine. Perfect.
Okay, good, good, good.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess just last point. Yeah. So I don't know. I think AI could be bad. I think it could be good, but um, I think it's just, I don't know. I think it'll be a reality that we have to face fairly soon.
Yeah, and I have no answer for that. It's a very confusing time for the art community, right? Because like
Hmm.
objectively, it is better at a lot of the thing that the artist can do. It is also not able to do some of the other things, but soon it might be able to. So I have no answers.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll just be more legless. Oh my god, I can't say the word legislation on what
Legislation.
what can be considered um, human and versus AI, and AI is as as you were saying, they started to do AI can't be copyrighted and such, but human stuff needs to be copyrighted.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
But who knows with Greece and all the bigger company and lobbying and who like how can you guarantee it's gonna stay that way, right? What if we come with a
Yeah.
big rich AI firm that lobby the government to maybe like get rid of this law? Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to know what will happen in the future about um, if it basically, if anything's going to get tested in the court. Um, well, yeah, we've talked for a long time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This is a lot of fun. We talked. I don't know how I'm going to edit it and like review the topics. Yeah, we didn't talk about any of the things I was on that I wrote down, but that's fine. Really, it was just like, it's actually better that way, because I like when it's just pretty free flowing. Like, oh, so this is what the person's
It's good.
about, and
It felt very organic, right? And I
a
think
hundred.
even the tangent that we go on pretty much touched on what what we want to talk about anyway. So I think it's good, right?
Didn't I say that I could make you talk? You're like, oh, it's gonna be nerve wracking. Like, I mean,
Oh,
that you didn't know if you would be able to talk. Like, oh, that honey, that's my skill.
you
That is a skill I have.
you are good, yeah. If you can tell
I
the
just talk,
institute.
and then yeah, I just talk, and I irritate people's their ears so much that they like, okay, well, you just stop talking. I'll talk to make you shut up. It's that. It is that. Um, Thank you so much. Yeah, this is like 2 hours long, so it's probably going to be like split into
Yeah.
two, and I'm going to cut down a little bit, but yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. And I will talk to you later. I will see you on Sunday too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sunday for sure. Okay, see you later.
Yes. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Hi, this is James, the editor from the future. Since I forgot to state it in the episode, please like, subscribe to the channel. Helps grow it. And thank you for watching.